everybody. Welcome to the TOMRA webinar, Pathways to Circularity. Thank you for joining. We have folks joining from all over the world, although this is be a little bit more focused on the US here. My name is Mike Noel. I'm a Director of Public Affairs here at TOMRA, based in the US. I'm excited about the discussion we're gonna have here today. We'll be talking about two really important public policies to achieve circularity for packaging. One is extended producer responsibility, or EPR, and the other is deposit return systems for beverage containers, or DRS, or bottle bills as they are known in some parts of the US.
My name is Biljana Ignatova. I'm part of the Public Affairs Department of TOMRA. I'm responsible for EU policy, European Union policies on circular economy issues. And previously, I've coordinated a European multi-stakeholder platform for discussion and exchange of information on extended producer responsibility. So today, I will be sharing with you an overview and some insights on the way EPR developed in Europe. What is the relationship we have seen between curbside collection and deposits financed by EPR, or the terms that are commonly used, EPR and DRS. So first, important to understand that both systems are an implementation of the EPR principle, whereby producers finance the collection and management of the packaging they place on the market. And both are necessary. They are in fact complementary to each other. So DRS addresses beverage containers, in particular the problem of littering, and enables high collection rates and high quality recycling. And in Europe, the experience we have so far is that both are managed and organized separately by different organizations. Because although they are implementing the same principle, they are very different when it comes to collection, curbside versus retail, usually. The stakeholders, so curbside collection, typically municipalities are financed, and in DRS, it's the retailers who are compensated, and the targets, as we have seen, are much higher than DRS. In any case, whatever organization is chosen, the financial management for the different packaging materials should be kept separate to avoid cross-subsidization between the different materials, because again, this goes to the idea of EPR, that each producer should pay for their own packaging.
So hi everybody, my name is Alexis Eisenberg. I'm the Director of France and Francophonie at Wrapup platform, which is an NGO, international NGO. And today I will present the Quebec case. Why? Because it's interesting to have this case in the North American context. And also it's because I spent the last 10 years working for the government agency called Recycle Quebec. So first of all, just to let you know that the waste packaging management in Quebec, you have like two, three options, if I can say that. So two deposit return system. One is called the public DRS for single-use plastic, aluminum, and glass. It's focusing on beers and soft drinks. For beers, there is an organization which is actually the government agency, Recycle Quebec, which manage the DRS for beers, and you have also a private organization which is not profit for the soft drinks called Boissons Gazeuses Environnement, which is soft drinks environment. And you have also the private DRS for refillables, so it's more the beer private system, and it's owned and managed by the three most bigger companies, the three most bigger brewers, which represent 9% of the market, and also micro brewers for 10% of the market. So they all collaborate together in this private refillable DRS. And the other side, you have one household curbside. We call it Blue Box in Quebec. It's covering 90% of the population for packaging. Industry covers 100% of costs for collection and sorting. And you have also a PRO, which is a producer responsibility organization called Entreprise Quebec, also a nonprofit with a board of producers and retailers to manage the financial flows between municipality and between the producers. So about the complementary, that's my two last slides of DRS and curbside. By law, you have maximum 10% of DRS performance, which can be reached by the curbside. The idea is behind just to consolidate this DRS and avoid bias. So having a prime DRS system and push the producer also to continue to invest in this system, and also force also the two pros from the DRS and from the curbside to find an agreement about the complementarity, about the financial and operational side and methods for all the materials which can go through the different system. Lesson learned. So what is pretty important at the beginning is to have like ambition about circular economy, what is achievable in the context of the region, and which means implementing targets for a common vision. EPR regulation is the framework to reach these targets. It's the easiest way with a sustainable financing over the years. And the DRS and the curbside work as a tools. It's just the end of the process. It's just tools to reach the targets. High collection rate, high recyclability, high circular economy. And all this minimum requirement needs to be in the regulation to have a fair, convenient, and transparent system at the end.
So I'm going to bring us home. I'm Sarah Edwards. I am the CEO of Eunomia Research and Consulting in North America. A couple of important points as well to note in terms of why you want to potentially implement EPR with the ability with DRS included is that you get results sooner. So Alexi touched on some of this earlier. You can effectively ramp up and we can see this from Europe as well. You can effectively implement a DRS system over a much shorter period of time. So generally, it takes about 2 years from passing of the legislation to having in place, for the program starting, and you can get a very rapid ramp up. If you look at some of the programs in Europe that have started over the last few years, they're reaching 70% after 1 year of operation. So you can easily get that recycling rate for those materials up to 70%. The graph on the right is just taking used beverage cans as an example. If you compare that with EPR, you're looking at more of a 4, 5, 6 year implementation process. By the time you pass the legislation, you may have a rulemaking process. You then have to develop the producer plan, and then the producer take hold of the system before there's actually any investment in improvements. So you see a much later impact of that piece of legislation. And as I mentioned before, if you are implementing these together and the DRS comes into play earlier on, you effectively start developing some of that infrastructure that can allow other materials to be recycled through that depot infrastructure, supporting more difficult recycled material that might not be suitable for the curbside. States with a DRS already, and we've obviously seen Connecticut moved to modernizing their DRS system over the recent years. So, ideally, an EPR system would exclude the beverage containers, and what we want to try and do is make sure that DRS is optimized and modernized so that it's expanded to include all beverages. The deposit is revised, and the handling fee, or the unclaimed deposits, effectively go back to supporting the system. And of the work that we have done in the past, if you're a beverage producer, then the cost of being in a DRS system where you have access, even with high targets, where you have access to those unclaimed deposits to go back into the infrastructure, those costs are likely to be less than what you would pay under a producer fee under EPR.
Just want to do a quick wrap up of some of the 4 common questions that I hear and what I've heard from these presenters. The first one would be, are DRS and EPR programs managed by the same entity? And I think the answer is no, at least not in Europe or the US or Canada. They're really not managed by the same entity. Second question I hear is, can they be passed in the same legislation? Yes, they're both programs, although they're distinct and managed separately, they can be governed, they are governed by targets. And that's kind of the goal, that sets the goal for each program. Third question is, well, is there any interaction in any way between EPR and DRS systems? And from what we heard today, I think it sounds like it's not typically the way it works, but there can be. For example, Sarah shared the BC example of allowing the depots or the redemption centers to take back more materials than simply beverage containers that are typically managed or the responsibility of the EPR program. And then we heard the example of Quebec allowing curbside operators to collect deposit beverage containers. But thanks everybody for joining. It was a really good discussion, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.